Hello, everybody. I pray you guys are all doing well. And it is back to school season right now. All the little ones are getting ready to head back to school. So my team asked me to do a video on backpacks. But if you know anything about me, one thing that I hate, I can't stand more than anything, is anything cliche. So as a chiropractor, having to do a video talking about backpacks or ergonomics or posture, for me is very, very hard to do. Because to me, in my mind, it's just cliche. I know some of you might like that kind of stuff, but for me, it's just really cliche for a chiropractor to be talking about posture. So we're going to take this a little bit more in depth. I was thinking about this for the last week or so, how I wanted to do this video, because I told my team I would do a video on backpacks, and that's what we're going to do. But what happens when I got my backpack? I told them I wanted to wait to do the video until I actually had my backpack. So I brought my backpack today, and I was thinking about this. There's nothing about wearing a backpack or even a heavy backpack that's innately really bad for your kid. When I'm working out, we actually do a lot of workouts with things called rucksacks that look just like this bag. It's just like this, and then we put weight in it. We put about 40 pounds in it. But what we do when we put it on is the first thing I will do is I will cinch it all the way down. I'll pull these straps all the way down, so it's real high and tight. And what that does, and then it's got these, you can just pull and release them, and it makes it a lot looser. You can take it off really easy. But what that does is it allows that weight to get closer to my body. And that's actually a good thing. It's going to develop a strong kid. You want that kid to be carrying things that are going to make that kid strong. So just like me when I'm working out, I cinch that thing down. It gets close to my body, so it's easier. It's better for my posture. It's better for my muscles. And my muscles, my erector muscles that keep me up straight, are actually being strengthened by that, which is a really, really good thing. When kids wear their backpacks and they are loose, they're not on tight, they're not cinched down, or maybe they're just wearing them on one side, then you have an issue where you are developing some imbalances or abnormalities in that spine. When it's really loose like this and it's sitting back, it's going to be something that's really hard on their backs as well. But that's backpack in and of itself, and even a heavy backpack is not necessarily a bad thing. You need to think about it. This isn't just a backpack, but it's like anything else. If I asked you to carry 100-pound weight, would you rather carry it real close to your body right here, or would you rather carry it out here? It's going to be a lot easier for you to carry it right here. And it's the same thing with the backpack. The closer we can cinch it down and get it close to your body, the better it's going to be, the easier it's going to be to handle. The thing is, though, with backpacks, a lot of times when you hear people talk about backpacks, or you might even hear a chiropractor talking about backpacks or any weights, proper lifting technique, I don't care whether it's a backpack or whether you're lifting anything else, the biggest thing that it can do, it's typically not the cause of any bad posture. I'm going to say that again. The backpack, the weight, the ergonomics, it's typically not the cause, even bad sitting techniques, any of this, it's not the cause of bad posture. The reason it's a problem is because it can exacerbate a problem that's already there. Now, I'm going to explain this from the standpoint of kids, but it's also true for adults. There's so many kids, because they don't have back pain and neck pain and headaches typically. There's some that do, but because they don't have any of those issues, they haven't even thought about taking their kid to a chiropractor to be checked for subluxation, when those bones just shift a little bit and cause irritation in the nervous system, cause irritation in the muscles. A lot of those things that don't even cause symptoms in our younger population, they haven't even thought about going to a chiropractor. The problem is, when I check kids for subluxation, and even when I check babies for subluxation, a lot of times it happens very, very early. They have these subluxations. There are little tiny rotations in their spine or stresses in their spine that's causing irritation in their nervous system, and their body's having to account for these irritations, and there may not even be symptoms yet, or their symptoms may just be something that you put off or you just mark as normal because they're young, or they're, for whatever reason, their pediatrician may be saying, oh, that's just a normal thing, where it's not normal. What happens is, when those bones, when that spine has stress on it, the bones can shift. They can not even shift, but they might have irregular stresses on it, it causes irritation to the spine. It causes irritation to those spinal nerves. And now not only pain, it doesn't cause pain, but it causes an irritation in that signal. It causes that dysafferentation we've talked about in the old videos, where that signal from that part of your spine is no longer getting up to the brain correctly. And when that signal is not getting up to that brain correctly, it's causing that brain not to get the proper information it needs to communicate with that kid's body. Like I said, and this is the biggest thing I'm going to drive home, this doesn't have symptoms in everybody. It doesn't have symptoms until a lot of times it's been going on for a really long time. So if you have irritations in the system, and it's going, let's say, to the cerebellum. The cerebellum is the bottom part of your brain, and it controls fine movement patterns. It's the reason that we can throw a baseball, but we can also tighten a little tiny screw with our fingers. That's what the cerebellum allows us to do, is those fine movements. It's our prefrontal cortex that when I want to go throw a baseball, I have to think about it, and then I can throw a baseball. But it's the cerebellum that allows me to put the perfect amount of spin on a curveball. So those two parts of your brain work together. And a kid where there's irritations or that dysafferentation's happening, those two parts of the brain are not communicating the way that they should. So those fine movement patterns are not working as well as it should. You may have tics, we may have posture issues. What your body does, and this is the biggest point, what your body does when you're in that state where your cerebellum's not communicating well with your prefrontal cortex, our body goes into a protective mode. And when our body goes into a protective mode, a lot of times our shoulders are hunched forward, we're leaning forward, we have this posture that's a little bit more like this. And I see this is the first sign in kids that I see, and it's because their body's in that protective mode. And it may not be due to anything, that may not be due to the way they're sitting or the way that they're sleeping or the backpack they're wearing. It may be due to just the fact that their body is in a protective mode. If you think about it, when you're back with your shoulders back, let's just say you see a friend that you haven't seen in a really long time, they're coming forward, and you walk up to them with a big old hug, you're no longer in that protective mode. You're in a mode where you're standing up straight, you're extended. All these things are signs of a protective mode versus being in a rest and digest mode. We talk about the autonomic nervous system. So many of us are living in that sympathetic mode where we're in protective. This is so much in kids as well, because we're developing. There's irritations in our spinal nerves. There's irritations in these systems because we haven't checked these systems yet. But then on top of that, that kid's going through stresses. They're going through stresses at school, relationship issues, a lot of times parent issues. And then they have things like heavy backpacks they're wearing. So all these things just exacerbate on top of problems that are already there. So what are we going to do about it? The main thing that we can start to do about it is have your kid checked for subluxation in the office. This isn't something that we're going to check them because they're in pain right now. We want to check them to make sure that these irritations in their spine aren't there. Their body that's developing very quickly, a lot of times quicker than any other part of their life, their body's developing. We want to make sure it's developing correctly. We want to make sure that the signal from in their body, I don't care whether it's digestive signal, I don't care whether it's the signal going out to the heart, the lungs, we want to make sure those signals in the spine, in the spinal nerves, are getting back up to the brain correctly so that the brain has the proper information to develop a healthy kid, which is going to lead to a healthy adult. Healthy kids produce healthy adults. Sick kids usually turn into sick adults. I'd much rather take your kid in whatever state they are right now and work on making them a healthy kid so that they progress into a healthy adult. And that starts very, very young. I adjusted my kids both within hours of them being born. This week, I've seen babies in the office all week because we're making sure those kids, the babies, are starting their life with a clear nervous system. Again, as a chiropractor, we talk about things that are cliche. I don't like to talk about back pain at all. I don't like to talk about neck pain at all because there's so much more. When there's back pain, it's usually because there's so much stress on those spinal joints. But if there's that much stress on those spinal joints, there's even more irritation of the spinal nerves, which is causing dysfunction in our bodies. And if we could really get this, if we could really internalize what I'm saying here, health is going to make you're going to have a whole new perspective on health, because those digestive issues, the numbness, the tingling, maybe even the heart arrhythmias, all these kind of things, you're going to start to realize, well, why is that not working the way it's supposed to? Why is my brain not getting the right feedback loops? Your body was built. Your body was, from the moment your two cells came together, mom and dad's cells came together, we had 100% innate intelligence. It created you from two cells. And to think that that same intelligence that created you from two cells can't heal whatever's going on in your body, it's just craziness. It's just craziness. So I hope this helps you guys. It went on a little bit long, but there's a lot of really important things, especially for you parents, to kind of take into your homes and really help develop some healthy kids. If there's any way I can help you do that, if there's any way I can refer you to somebody who can help you do that, you please let me know. I pray that you guys will like, share, and subscribe to this channel. If there's anything you need, you please let me know, and I look forward to talking to you guys soon. Bye-bye.